Welcome to the EarthWorks podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon with many of the turf friends we've met over the past 35 years.
Hey everybody, Kevin Hicks with another EarthWorks podcast. I'm on location with a good friend of mine, Geoff Haynes. He's in a little town called Kellogg, Idaho, which is an old mining town. We'll get into all the details here shortly, but thanks for jumping on with us.
Happy to be here.
This will be fun.
This is fun. It's my first.
To be here, actually.
It's my first, so be gentle.
Yeah, so just so you know, Jeff's written down a bunch of notes, and I'm not even going to let him look at them because that's not what we do here. So I have my notes, but we'll just jump right into it. I'm excited because you got a pretty unique set of job descriptions from season to season. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. So tell me about Geoff and who you are, where you came from, and where you've been. Because you've been to a lot of places.
I have been a number of places. Born in Northern California, in Eureka, and lived there for the first couple of years of my life. Yeah. Humboldt County.
Okay.
Weed capital of I think Earth, probably. But grew up in the redwoods there, and then moved up. My mom is from there, and then moved up to Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
When I was 3.
Yep.
And I was basically raised there on this in the same house. My folks are still in that house.
Which, for those of you out east, Vancouver is more or less a suburb of Portland now. So
right, just across the state line,
right
river.
Across the river.
Yeah. So it was a great place to grow up. Really different now, that's for sure.
Yep.
But I can remember being fascinated by golf, like courses when we would drive by and I'd see them in the car, and the flag blowing in the wind, and the white sand bunkers, and lakes and ponds, and of course mowing patterns and checkerboards and stuff like that. And I just remember I never did as a kid. I went with my dad. He would only play a handful of times a year. He liked to gather, but he'd get real frustrated. But I remember going. He took me a few times when I was little, but there was a fascination there, and it didn't fully realize itself until high school.
Okay.
When I picked up the game.
And you played in high school?
And I played in high school.
Okay.
My little private school, little church school, did not offer golf.
Okay.
And so I was then by rule, I could go and try to walk on to the school district who I lived in.
Yeah.
And so I did that my senior year in high school and was able to make the team, and actually went to the state tournament, got through district, and out of, I think there was like 80 or 85 at the state tournament, I placed like 35 or 40, something like that. So it was a fun, and then I played some JUCO also.
Yeah.
But then started out engineering in college in Walla Walla at a private liberal arts school there.
Okay.
And I was going to design buildings and bridges and all that. And that first year, I was talking to advisors and guys that were seniors and doing like grad stuff and trying to find out more and more about the field and the career as I could. And I decided, I don't know if I see myself doing this and being really happy with it for 30 years. And I was
that happened then and not later on.
Yeah. Totally. And so I had a friend who I had started working on a golf course so I could play for free, because I had picked the game up my freshman year, between freshman and sophomore year, and just fell in love with it right away. And actually made fun of the guys that worked full time. What a bunch of losers, mowing grass for a living. And
can't really do that, can you?
And then one of the guys was a little younger, and he was actually going to Texas A&M.
Okay.
And
for turf.
For turf.
Okay.
And he said, Geoff, you'd be blown away by what you need to know and how many hats you have to wear as a golf course superintendent. And you can make pretty decent money in some places. And so this was 2 years in now to college. And my girlfriend at the time lived in Walla Walla, and all my friends were there. And I'm like, okay. And then so later that summer, she sends me, back in the early 90s, sends me a newspaper clipping that the community college in town was starting a turf program. Isn't this what you were thinking about doing? Because I was thinking about going to Washington State. And I said, yeah, no, that'd be great. And so I did it and got if you put it all together, I have
That's-
a bachelor's, but I
So that's
got
Walla Walla Community
Walla Walla
College,
Community College.
which has pumped out an awful lot of people through the
It
years.
has.
And
It has.
it's changed a little bit, like a lot of them have now,
Yep.
more online.
I was the Geoff with a G, and so I say I was the OG of that program because it started in the fall of '93.
Oh, so that's when you enrolled.
Yeah,
First,
I enrolled.
first class.
I was the first class of
I'll be
that
darned.
program, first
Bill
graduate
Griffith
class.
got that off the ground,
Yep.
right?
And Greg Farns,
Yep.
who was doing a lot of the irrigation for ag and stuff. And we had, the ag soil classes, and they kind of just rolled a lot of what they had most of it into the curriculum, and then added a couple of golf specialty
Right.
turf, sports turf as well. But I think there's, I want to say 7 of us in that first class. And so graduated with that, went back over to Vancouver and worked at Royal Oaks for almost 6 years. And then went down, got in with Troon Golf.
Who'd you work with there?
Alan Nielsen.
Okay.
Yeah. Learned a lot from Al.
Yeah.
Great guy. He's retired now. That's where I learned a lot of my, he always called it the sizzle factor and what separates you from the club down the street.
Yep.
And he was really, really good at what he did, and learned a lot from him. And then, 2000, I was able to get in with Troon Golf, who was starting to really blow up at that point.
Yeah.
And talked to them for about a year, and then finally got a chance and got hired. Did a few interviews and got hired to build the Crosby Club down in Rancho Santa Fe in San Diego. So I moved my young family, had a couple of young kids under 2 at that point, and
I know a few guys that have gone through that course.
Moved them
after you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I built that as an assistant superintendent.
Okay.
And Guy Johnson was the superintendent. And so he was there, and then he went off and did a little fertilizer, and then built a course in Vegas, and then he he's over at Tributary now in Driggs. So
I saw him
it's kind of funny
actually for the first time.
He had another Geoff, actually, spells it wrong, that he had brought with him, but he didn't have his degree. And so in Troon's system, you couldn't be a first assistant without your degree.
Oh.
He could be a second assistant.
Okay.
And so he had him in place coming over from Arizona, from True North.
Yeah.
And so they ended up hiring me. And so he had Big Geoff and Little Geoff, because the other Geoff was like 6'4". But we were a great team. And now it's kind of funny. I've been up here 9 years now. He's been up here longer. The other Geoff has been up. He's over in Bozeman. And so all of us originally from
Geiselman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Geoff Geiselman.
Yeah, I'll be darned.
Guy was
baseball
from
player.
this. Yes.
Yeah.
Guy was from Seattle area,
Yeah.
and I think Geoff was from there as well, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And then they both ended up in Arizona, and then they both went to San Diego, and then I came down to San Diego, and then now all 3 of us are back up here in the Northwest.
Northwest.
Pretty much Northwest. So, yeah.
Huh.
But spent 5 years there as an assistant. Got my first superintendent job at Madeiras in San Diego, which was top 100 public for a number of years.
One of the hardest and fastest dormant Bermuda courses I've ever played.
Yeah, it was,
man, in the wintertime.
It was not that when I was there. We were still overseeding.
Yeah.
And that was 20 years ago now. We were still overseeding pretty much wall to wall there at that point. And then you get a little too aggressive and you're damaging your Bermuda base, so they can't get away with it.
Especially in that climate where ryegrass probably persists really, really
absolutely
long.
The Bermuda never really is like super happy, super thriving there, and so you can really end up having to do a lot. Yeah, so they had to do a lot of sodding and stuff, and let's
for a lot of our chemistries that they've got for transition aid and things like that.
Yeah, so, yep. It was just starting. I can remember pulling out I was a little more of a Monument fan than Revolver, but those were the 2 I think kind of earlier ones. Monument was a little easier to handle in the little packets with the granules.
Yeah, now there's a whole suite of them.
Go out there, hey, we want to, we know we're going to overseed at this date. We back up 100 days on the calendar.
Yep.
And go up through and wall spray it and just drop a bomb and kill any POA or rye that's out there.
I think the control on those products now is a lot more predictable, and so but guys, especially in Arizona, will do it more on the front end and try to plan that time. But that's a critical thing when you're overseeding, is to make sure you got a base to seed into, or your seeds rolling all over the place.
So I felt like that was a pretty good balance for me to
For
be
sure.
on the west side and the northwest, an old classic tree-lined in Royal Oaks with some of the best POA greens in the state or in the region, and then be able to go down and work with Bermuda and bent greens and overseed. And I was down there. Well, so then after Madeiras, I went to Carlton Oaks, which is a dye.
What was the Crosby? Was that a Bermuda base?
It was 419.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 419, and then Pinlinks too on the greens.
Got it.
Yeah. And we were pretty proud of the fact that everybody told us, oh, you know, it's going to be POA here in 5 years. Yeah. We were, guy left, I think, 4 or so years after, and I was there another year and a half after that. And when I left, we were still POA free without any chemical, just because we had a pretty large staff and we were able to pick.
Able to just
plus the other, from water to fertility to all that.
Yeah,
that you're
for sure.
trying to.
That's a big deal in San Diego, man.
Keep on your side. Yeah.
So you went from there. Sorry, I interrupted you. You went from Madeiras to
Carlton Oaks.
Which
was a Perry dye. Pete didn't work on it.
Okay.
I did have a phone conversation with Pete one time though, because we were talking about a possible renovation, and I was like, well, I would love to get him to come out, and so he, I think probably old school, like he called me back later that afternoon after I left a message on the main phone at the offices, and we chatted for a few minutes, and oh no, that wasn't me or Alice, that was all Perry. So if you're going to do any renovation work there, that's who, it'll be with Perry, and he'll come out and help you out. We never did end up going through with it, but I saved that for a while. I don't have it anymore. I wish I still had it. Rest in peace. But I was a big fan of his work, just because I was a little bit of a pugilist and liked to play the courses all the way back and as hard as they could get, and see what you could grind out. What kind of score you could get.
We talked about that a little earlier off the record. How as we've aged, it's got to change our priorities.
You change
I wouldn't mind hitting the short iron into a par 4.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice, refreshing change, and makes you feel like you're maybe young again. So
yeah, for sure.
And then I moved up here 9 years ago. It was like, there wasn't a lot happening there, and it actually had lost that job for or for cost cutting measures, and had given me a pretty good sized raise like a year and a half before that, and because they heard that I was looking around because I was underpaid, and ended up getting like a 35% raise to stay. And then a year and a half later,
100% cut.
And then a year and a half later, 100% slash of that. So that was tough, and had never, hadn't been let go before. And so I did some, I'll go ahead and say I did sign an NDA, but that was a long time ago, and I won't delve into too many secrets, but I did work at a particular left-handed pro golfer's residence while I was down there.
I wasn't going to bring that up because I figured there were NDAs involved.
But I worked there for a few months, kind of in between that, and enjoyed that, and enjoyed my time there very much. And then
how do you not enjoy San Diego?
Yes, San Diego is just fabulous.
Expensive.
Best weather in the country, and it is expensive, but when you can play golf all year round. I kind of have this little personal, for probably 30 years now, like I try to get 100 rounds a year played in.
I was wondering if
as long as I meet that, I feel like I've had a pretty successful.
And in the last month, you had to come close to that with some of your stuff.
I did.
For those of you listening, Jeff's a true golf nut on the superintendent side. But bordering on an addict. For sure. I can't sustain that level of activity.
A lot of guys like to hunt, like to fish, they get away from the golf. I don't.
Yeah, we're gonna go. I want to get into that too. I just want to get it because you're a real architecture buff, and I love talking about that.
I love everything about the game. It started with playing it, and then obviously grew into a love of keeping the grounds for it, and creating a space for people to recreate on. Whether it's birthdays, whether it's doing business. Obviously, a lot of business gets done on golf courses, and out families out, mom and dad and the kids, like seeing anybody. I can remember, just real quick story, at the end of the season, we were just about ready to close, and I was out mowing our 9th fairway, and I was kind of sneaking up on this twosome, couple of guys, and this guy had warm burned I think 3 shots in a row. And so he's going into this par 4 on his 4th shot. And he was probably 70 or 80 yards out, and he gets the ball in the air, which kind of surprised me, and took 2 bounces and rolled probably 10 or 15 feet and drops in the hole. And he celebrated like his first child was being born, almost.
Like it was a hole in one at the par 3 tournament.
Yeah, he turned around because he knew I was behind him. I was keeping a respectful distance, but he knew I was back there, and he turned around to make sure, did I see that? I'm like, yeah, I saw that. Like, that's, good for you. And he was screaming, and his partner was like laughing, and it's just an amazing game that you can play your entire life.
It is.
And you're outdoors in nature, in desert to ocean to mountain to parkland to middle of city, whatever it is, wherever
Every
it is.
piece of property is
And
special in its own way.
Yeah, and it's such a challenging sport to always be trying to master.
Yeah.
One day one thing's working, one day another thing's not working. So, yeah, I think you'd be fairly hard pressed to find somebody that is in love with the playing and the work part of providing a golf course and the conditioning of the sport as a whole, as I am. So like when I go on vacation, I go play golf. I don't hunt or fish, or I like to see some sights, but
and you've got a wife that supports and enjoys the game too. So
I do.
That's a big part of it as well. I usually get the dirty look when I suggest.
And so I did too for a long time, and she's a great woman. Sadly, we went through a divorce a few years ago after 27 years, and I said, hey, I have to find. She never picked up the game. And so I kind of get the little eye roll when you went on vacation, like, hey, could I maybe fit a round in this week? And so I'm like, I have to find a golf net. It doesn't have to be quite as addicted as I am, but if I could find one that really enjoys playing, not just maybe a hit and giggle type of thing.
Right.
And after a year on Match, a pretty wild.
Is it golfmatch.com?
No, just regular Match. Just regular Match. I think there are those out for golf singles, but I didn't trust them quite as much. I felt like Match was a little more. So I got on there. I was on there for a year, dated pretty extensively with intention. And I found in Spokane this amazing woman who's a bogey golfer and has played for 20-some years. And we are head over heels. We got married last year. In fact, I proposed on your former floating green.
Yeah, that's right.
Last year because she loves water and golf. And I'm like, well, there's not many places better than that to pop the question.
I remember you talking.
So your former assistant out there who's now in charge kind of helped with that.
Yeah, very cool.
Faked a phone call so he could video it for us. And then we actually got married up on my 4th hole at the highest point of my property here at Galena last fall in October. So,
and then your first anniversary trip was 5 days of golf at Panda Dunes.
Yep. She had never been, and she is absolutely a keeper.
That's cool.
And we played all, with the 2 short courses, we played all. We didn't do the practice few holes there.
Okay.
We hadn't done those, so I guess we didn't play all the holes on the property, but all the 5 big courses and the 2 short courses that week, and it's 60 degrees and sunny. It was glorious.
Quite a piece of property. Pretty amazing.
It was awesome.
All right. So 9 years ago, you arrived at Galena, which I'll let you describe it, but it's a 9-hole course that's associated with a ski resort that's been here for decades.
Correct.
So take us through that genesis of how the golf course got here, who designed it, because it's a pretty special little piece of property.
It is. And it's not just me being a homer saying that. Obviously, you are very well traveled, have been around a lot of areas, and a lot of other people who are also are well traveled say the same thing. Like, what a great property! So it's part of Silver Mountain Resort. It's been a ski hill since, I believe, '68.
Okay.
So 50+ years now, and I might get the dates wrong, but it was around 03, 04 that they decided they're going to expand it and built the water park. We have the largest indoor water park in Idaho.
It's apparently the world's longest gondola ride up to the ski.
North America.
In North America.
Yeah, we have North America's longest gondola, 3.1 miles.
Yeah, it's a heck of a ride.
It takes 22 minutes to ride up that without any stops. And so they decided to put the golf course community in as well to just add to so you have a full 4-season resort.
Yeah.
And Sadly, though, they were building the golf course in 07, 08, and into
Did
09.
anything happen in the golf
And-
industry or the economy as a whole
Yeah.
around that time? I don't know.
Pretty big bomb went off.
Yeah.
And so they barely were able to open up
Right.
the 9 holes that are here. But it was intended to be 18. And if that wasn't the case, if that recession had not happened, sorry about that, we would have had the full 18.
Yeah.
And so it is 9 holes, and you can go around twice. The back tees are just about 7,200 yard, par 70.
Okay.
You do have 3 holes that are fairly significantly downhill.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. I want to talk about elevation too.
And it's, I believe the course rating is, from the back tees, is 74.5, so 4.5 shots over par.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the slope is 145.
Oh.
So it's everything a scratch player could want,
Absolutely.
especially there's usually a pretty ever-present wind
Yep.
that's up there,
Yep.
especially on a couple of the highest holes. And so
And
most of that,
and no drainage to speak of, so the ball doesn't roll forever.
sadly, yeah, no real drainage.
A lot of water coming off the mountain.
Yeah, you would think, oh, it's on the side of a mountain, it should drain pretty well. No, it absolutely does not. There are a number of springs, and there are plenty of them that pop up at different areas.
Oh, I'm sure.
Every season.
Yeah. Times of the
And
year.
so you think, oh, I've got this place, I'm going to go throw some drainage in that, and you don't get to it the end of that season. The next year, it's gone. It's not there anymore. And you've got someone,
But 100
got
yards
another one
to
somewhere
the
else.
south, there it is.
Yeah. So it is a little bit of it's definitely rustic.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got here, I said, in San Diego, I had, I want to say 1.5, 1.6 million and 25 to 28 staff. And you come up here and then, it's under $250,000. We'll say it's quite a bit lower than that budget all in. And there's 4 or 5 of us that are working on the property, but it's been really fun and a nice challenge. Again, kind of like getting both ends of spectrums, from like upper West Coast to San Diego, and then now with different budgets and trying to do as much as you can with what you have.
Well, and your playing ability, your understanding of conditioning, you're always trying to get more out of those dollars, I'm sure, just like everybody.
Yeah. And so I've had pretty good success. You start with greens, right? And then you back off from there. As long as the greens are good.
Yep.
The hot dogs we don't have hot dogs actually, but I don't know, the Snickers bar is bigger and the beer is colder. So people will overlook some other sins if the greens are really good.
Absolutely.
And I won't name drop.
That's the take home message right there, is no matter what the budget is, you focus on those 3 acres first and lots of stuff.
Usually people are going to be pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
So it was a number of people that are pretty well traveled around the area have said those greens mid-season take a back seat to no one around this region. And that's a really cool source of pride for us. And then try to have the tees be as good as they can, try to keep the fairways as best you can, but we're definitely a little rough around the edges.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask, the plan was to have 18. Is the other 18 on paper, or the other 9 on paper somewhere?
It is. It was fully routed by John Thronson, who's done a number of other spots here in the Northwest.
Yeah.
And like I said, if the recession had not happened, it would be full and complete 18. Last year, I got the okay to approach some architects, because he has since retired. Can't blame him. Talk about getting a little older.
Right.
He doesn't want to come back and be boots on the ground,
sure,
for a couple of seasons to finish it. So I went out and found a couple of, I think I had 7 total, 6 or 7 that came out. A couple said, no, thanks. It's not quite our style, because we don't want to blow up what we have.
Right.
People love it.
Right.
We always have a stack of like comment cards or, emails that we can take to the owner and say, hey, people love this place. And it's the classic, formula. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And I'm still not quite privy to the very inner workings and plannings of our owner, who I love to pieces. He's a great guy. So I'm trusting his, expertise, but we got a couple of proposals last year, and we're anxiously awaiting the green light to
Now's the time, man.
take off and get it finished, because people are like, we would come, from the far edge of Spokane several more times this summer.
Well, and you've got the piece that's missing in a lot of places. You've already got the housing piece taken care of.
Yeah,
in the
we
resort.
We do.
Yeah.
Yep. We have a lodge down there that's, I think it's around 250 rooms.
Yeah.
Really nice room, a lot of different sizes.
Which in the summer you're trying to
small.
fill anyway, and that's
Right.
why the golf course is.
Although mountain biking has really taken off in the last 5 years,
on the
5 to 7. Yes, on the ski hill. Our mountain biking up on the ski hill is, I'm told, I'm not in that realm, but I'm told has become pretty nationally known. And we have some pretty big races up there, both enduro and downhill mountain bike. So I've heard that some of our lodging numbers for summertime are approaching winter.
Oh wow,
for skiing. Okay. Yeah. So it's doing really well. You can do a lot of different things here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the site, because if I'm not mistaken, so this is all mostly mining town, but there was some logging, obviously, and that kind of thing. And mining goes from here all the way to Butte, Montana. I mean, there were huge mines, and this was part of one of the Superfund sites, wasn't it?
It is.
That there was a lot of reclamation done.
Yep.
So how does that affect how you do things?
There's a few things, not too many. The area is known as the Silver Valley. At one time, I believe at least 25+% of the nation's silver came out of this valley.
Isn't that amazing?
Just in a little, 8 to 10 mile stretch.
Yep.
And so obviously there were a number of mines, including one of the worst mine disasters in the country back in the early 70s.
Yep.
And so the golf course is actually, it's designated as a Superfund site, which is cool that you can reclaim land, and through massive replanting, this area has really gone back to what it was before.
Sure.
There are some cons, of course, with some of that and the smelting processes. And I'm told, I was not here, but I'm told that it was kind of a wasteland, like this little few mile stretch where nothing would grow.
Right.
And I heard, I think it was likened to like acid rain kind of being contained in one little area from all that smelting processes. And so I think it was early 90s, 89 to 92 or something, I believe, that 3 or 4 million trees were planted through a number of years, and they got way better take than they expected.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so now it's kind of interesting. If you look up above the golf course here, a lot of them are around the same size.
Right.
So
that's the one thing
they're all about 35 years old now.
Exactly.
But we have a nice mix of tamarack and some aspen for the color, which is great. It's popping right now.
Yeah, really.
It's just glorious right now. And northern white pine, I think, was one of the main ones that they did.
Yeah, which is interesting because you don't see those everywhere, but the white pine is very prevalent on this property.
Very prevalent.
So are you capped?
Thankfully none in turf, which is great. I know a lot of guys struggle, and I was happy to see that when I got here, that we don't have a single tree in turf. So that's
nice.
I don't have to worry about that.
So was the soil capped at one point?
It was not.
Okay, so
it was turned over. It was basically like take the first few inches, lift it up, and kind of fold it in. I forget how John was telling me when I got here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Just the
how that was done.
Process, like don't touch much, right?
Right. And but it was not sand capped, which I wish it could have been, but that's a huge dollar.
But I mean, even soil, I think about Old Works over in Anaconda, Washington or Montana.
Right. Copper.
That's got a liner, an impervious liner, and then a soil cap on top. So
correct. Right.
Depends on the severity, I guess, the contamination.
You and I could probably spit out of this little office trailer onto that.
Okay.
So this whole area just behind us
on the lower
is some of the hottest,
yeah,
some of the hottest, most contaminated that was buried. There's a liner,
right,
and they monitor it constantly from the EPA. So as far as those, nothing can be excavated here and taken off site anywhere.
But there's no limitation as to digging for irrigation or what have you.
No, as long as it stays here on
Yeah.
site.
Yeah.
And if you were to do some of that and take it away, there are approved designated sites where that is taken to. I know when I don't live in the valley anymore. I live over in Post Falls now, but when we lived and did a little renovation at our house and kind of the driveway, we had to get a permit for it, and they had to come and grab it and take it up to a particular depository where all that stuff goes.
Site. That's not exactly something you want to live in, but.
Right? But they had to go through and do all this of the school, all the sports turf, all the yards, residential yards, and all of that stuff was mandated to be done through this. I forget if it's 4, 6, 8 miles, something like that stretch of the valley here around Kellogg.
There's so much history in this area of mining and maybe to a lesser degree logging, but I think north of us is at one time one of the biggest asbestos mines in the world.
Oh, I think I heard that. Yeah.
You just think about that now, and you might say, wow, what were we thinking? And
I know to get back to requirements, I'm sure we probably will have to do it again when we start the other 9 holes. When they were building this 9, they had to do intermittent blood testing to make sure that heavy metals were not. I am a metalhead actually, and I have heavy metal going through my veins. But as far as music goes,
different kind of
but
metal.
Just to watch out to see if any of those levels were rising while they were working out here, and they have decontamination sites that all the vehicles had to go through at the end of the day, and so there are a number of those interesting things to try to keep you safe when you're working on a site like this. But so we probably will have to be doing some of that once we break ground on the other 9.
Well, I like a lot of people in the area. I'm excited to see this get off the ground. I think it'll be nothing but a positive for the resort.
Me too.
Certainly for you. So I know
when I saw the
been waiting a long time.
I saw the pictures when I saw the job posting, and I remember doing the interview over the phone because I was in California, and I asked how soon. Well, we hope to do it soon, and I'm thinking, well, in this industry, that's 2 to 4, 3 to 5,
9
something
years
like
later,
that. Now it's been 9. It's almost been a decade, and so I've had a chance to be all around the region, all around the area. Even having a little booth at the Spokane Golf Show and running a little special and selling those to people and talking about the golf course.
And that's the feedback.
Yeah. And the feedback is, when is it going to happen?
Yeah.
We love it so much. We tell everybody when they're coming in from out of town, we want to take you up to Galena Ridge because it's so fun and the views are spectacular and lots of wildlife. And it's actually never terribly crowded as far as golf goes, like maybe some other city courses would be.
And you said you cracked 10,000 rounds for the first time.
We did
this year.
Yeah, this year for the first time.
I mean, for this climate, that's clipping along pretty good.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So people love this place. They pull into the gravel parking lot, and we might get into that a little bit later too, with the little clubhouse we have over there, golf shop.
I'm going to have our editor include some pictures.
A couple of the guys that have been here for a number of years, they say, I have had so many conversations with people that have never set foot here. They see there's a golf course. They're going to stop in and play.
Yeah.
They pull into the gravel parking lot and see this little golf shop. And they're like, you want to do 9 or 18 today? I'm like, well, I think we'll just do 9 because they're thinking it's a, flat back and forth, mom and pop, nothing against mom and pop. I love traveling and finding little 9-hole courses. We need them.
Yep.
But let's say it's a flat piece of land that's not very interesting for golf. Yeah. And he said, almost invariably, all of those, he would say, I would say 95% or higher of those folks that were questioning, do I want to play 18 here, go around it twice? They go around it twice. They come back in and they've got a smile on their face. Like, I can't wait to go, tackle that again.
Maybe you upcharge the second chance rate.
There you go.
Since you didn't sign up for
you had your chance.
It's going to cost you X
Yeah.
plus.
But no, everyone, I have never in 9 years, and I've talked to a lot of people, hundreds of borderline, maybe thousands of people about this place. And I hear nothing negative. Yeah. Like nothing negative, like, I don't like that. It's fun. It's challenging. It's not tricky. It's challenging, but it's out there in front of you.
Right.
And it does take a few plays, like a lot of good golf courses, to kind of figure out how the ball moves and how it reacts on the slopes. But the elevation change, the ever-present wind.
Elevation change, because there's a lot.
There is. We have over 400 feet of elevation change
in 9 holes. That's
in 9
pretty
holes.
amazing.
And when we
What
go,
about number 6?
Number 6
It's got to
is
be 150 of that in 6.
number 6 is 250 of
250.
that. Yeah,
From the tee down
to the green.
Yeah,
it's a big par 4, big wide fairway. I mean,
it doesn't look
pretty
wide
hard
from
pressed
the
to
back
miss
tee.
that fairway, but then you've got, right foot high for a righty,
Yeah.
or opposite for a left-hander, into a green, and left is gone. You're not getting your ball off of that, or from that if you go too far left. Both of the par 3s that we have are over 100 feet drop from tee to green. Wow. With different opposite wind directions.
Right.
So yeah, there's over 400 feet. I saw an article. I can't remember if it was Golf Digest or Golf. I want to say it was Digest, that had kind of ranked the top 10 courses in the U.S. with the most elevation change. When the other 9 gets put in, I think that is going to double. It should, by my rough estimations, be around 800 to 900 feet of elevation change.
It'll be the bulk of that 9 will be lower,
slightly lower. Yeah. Okay. Still the same feel through gulches. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of good gulches that's going to play down into and up out of, and on top of. Mm-hmm. And so again, really rough with my phone. Like, here, this is my elevation. Now here's my elevation. I think we should be in the 8 to 850 range, that's almost amazing. 900, and that would put us in the top 10 in the country.
Make some challenges for pumping, but
yeah,
you can figure that out
hydraulically. Sure. Yeah. We'll find a way. I think I've got some pretty good people lined up.
So let's talk acreage. We talked offline a little bit. So you're part of a ski resort.
Yeah.
So break it down into golf course acreage of the resort, and then obviously skiable acres It's a big mountain. I'm always surprised when I come up and ski here.
It's a pretty good sized mountain. I believe it's just over 1,600 acres.
Okay.
Skiable.
Skiable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I want to say 73 named runs. I am not a huge skier. I used to back, but now I don't want to get hurt and miss golf time. So I could get first tracks every day if I wanted.
Right.
And we'll get into that.
Yeah,
with my winter job here in a minute. But around 1,600 acres on the ski hill. 3.1 gondola mile ride up the gondola to get to that. Very easily accessible right off the 90 freeway.
So
and then the golf course is about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile just west of that resort, the gondola village. And the golf property at Galena is just under 600 acres for the 18 holes.
Okay.
The 9 holes that we have currently, I believe, is in the 250 to 275 acre range. So there's a lot of 18-hole golf courses that are on that, or less.
On less than that, a lot.
And so transportation around this property, even though it's 9 holes, almost feels like 18.
It does.
Going out and mowing my 9 greens, and I just built a new practice green, our forever practice green, that people have been clamoring for, and got that open this season. To mow those 10 greens, I'm at 3.5 hours on a triplex.
Just traversing.
Yeah, the time it takes to get all the way around. And the fairway mower with the fairway unit with one guy, just one of them mowing, it's a 7-hour gig to mow fairways. Tees, collars, approaches on one triplex is about 3.5 to 4 hours.
And you said they're platted for 600 some home sites.
Yes. Total. Yeah. There'll be some townhome /condos as well, and then single family residences.
So that eats up a lot of that acreage, but that's
eat up
still
some
a
of
big
it.
piece of ground.
But it won't be currently on this 9. There's only homes alongside of 1, 2, 3 holes of the 9.
Okay.
6 of them don't have homes along them, which is great. I'm not a big home alongside the golf course guy. And then the other,
a lot of the fun.
It does. The other 9 will be pretty similar. I think there'll only be 3 or 4 holes that there'll be
kind of keep
homes, and they'll be set back, tastefully up away from them in the trees. But so you'll have a good 2/3 of the 18 that you're out, kind of feeling like you are out in nature and away from any.
What is, speaking of irrigation, what is your water source?
Creek.
On the property or below the property?
On the property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that reliable?
It's pretty reliable. I am a little bit worried about going to 18 holes with that source.
You have a holding pond.
We have a holding pond that was excavated there, and we have our water rights to pull out of that we just renewed. And I told ownership that August, the last part of July and through August, about 4 to 6 weeks, when we're, we could get 90 degrees, 95 degrees up here, that it's a bit of a balancing act, balls in the air there, trying to keep the water up in our upper pond, because we have to pump it about 300 feet up from that creek to our holding pond up on the golf course. And then it's a mix. The 9 holes, there's about 4 or 5 of the upper holes that are pressurized. The other lower holes are all gravity fed.
Oh, wow.
And so we're going to do some kind of hybrid version of that in the design for the other 9. And I think we'll need to put another good size holding pond over there that we can make sure it's full coming out of spring with the melt. And we should be able to.
That's the question.
Yeah, we should be able to keep it fed. I think I'm at 34 acres of turf on this 9 holes right now, all in.
Not much.
And we'll be about the same. It'll be pretty similar.
Yeah.
34, 35 over another. So around 70 probably.
Okay.
All in.
All right. So elevation of the clubhouse, approximate.
About 2,700 feet, I would say.
There's really no holes below that, so the elevation change all goes up from there, right?
Yeah,
so
we're around 3,000, basically around 3,000 feet elevation, so not terribly high.
Right.
You talk about some of the courses that are at 6,000 and 7,000, 8,000 feet in Utah and Colorado.
But
we're not there.
Your winters they tend to linger even more so than in the city.
They do
a little bit.
They do. We only have
you're north facing primarily,
right? We are only open 5 months for our golf season. I expect that when we're 18 holes, we'll probably try to stretch that to 6 if we can. We open the 1st of May. We close the 1st of October. It's usually can get some beautiful, beautiful weather there in October, and you can get some pretty rainy days. But the key is proper drainage. And so that'll be one of my main selling points to ownership is that, hey, we've got to make sure that we are extremely properly drained through these fairways and tees so that we can have golf when it's a little wetter, wetter part of the shoulder season.
Yeah, if you're going to push it, the fall would be the time. Spring is always kind of tough.
Spring is really, really tough.
Wet.
Yeah, it's very, very wet.
Yeah,
with that melt. But yeah, we got it's a pretty reliable creek there. We'll try to maybe expand that holding pond down below, maybe expand the one up that is existing and line it, because I'm pretty sure there's maybe a little leak there that might be affecting my 3rd hole. And then do another similar size one over on the other 9 holes. Talking with a hydrogeologist and one of the other irrigation architects, he thinks that we should be able to pull it off pretty well, because even though you'll go through a couple of those gulches to get that gravity line over there, it still is a high enough starting point that we should be fine.
Be able to push it.
And then we'll have maybe a smaller, I don't know, 20 horse, 25 horse, some kind of little jockey pump over there to just make sure that we've got pressure if we need it.
Don't see many gravity fed golf course irrigation systems, but I run into them now and again.
Right.
And if you've got the head pressure, it works well.
We have it here.
Yeah.
With that kind of elevation change, we can do it. So
all right. So let's shift gears. You mentioned you got 5 months of golf. Obviously there's things to do on both ends of that, but you have a unique second job, if you will, that it's one of those things that believe it or not, and I know you're going to roll your eyes at this, it's kind of one of my bucket list things is to get get on and do that once or twice.
You'll have to come up this way.
I'm going to. What do you the most dreaded question in seasonal golf climates? What do you do in the wintertime? But there's actually something.
Thankfully, I don't need to go flip burgers or in this case, it's part of the resort. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I can't see myself wanting to hand out towels in the water park or something. Yeah. So I groom the ski hill at night with the big cats. And I remember them asking, like, well, do you want to be seasonal when I came on and find something else in the winter? Or would you like to, transition into some of it? Because there are plenty of jobs around the resort.
Right.
And the GM of the resort brought it up. Oh, maybe we kind of struggle to fill that staff. Usually it's, graveyard shift is pretty difficult to find willing bodies, to put yourself through that. So, maybe we could be interested in that. And I said, well, I love operating equipment. Yeah. So I think it'll be fun. And it is. I enjoy it a lot. The schedule is a little tough.
So the shift is when to when?
We show up at the main parking lot. We did switch a couple of seasons ago to 410s. So that's great instead of 5 days.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we'll show up around 9:30 or 10. We have a half-hour drive up a back road that used to be the main road. And I've heard there are still cars off the side of the road from back in the 70s that went off that road when they were driving up to Jackass Ski Bowl, as it was known back then. But we drive that. It takes about half hour, 35 minutes.
So you don't take the gondola up?
No.
Yeah.
So we drive up that, and that can get, that's a whole nother story, but we can get a little sketchy there in the late spring when it starts to melt off, and then it gets ice, and it's almost a skating rink going up that road. But we drive up, get the cats started and warmed up, and we're usually out on the hill by, I would say, around 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11, and we go all night until 7 to 8 a.m. the next day.
So for somebody who's never done that, we have mowing patterns on fairways.
Yeah.
Do you have, how many guys are doing this? How many people are doing it? Number one, and you have routes like you would on a mowing route. And
we do.
And
yep.
You've got terrain parks that you take care of. So
also,
how do you have somebody that's like a terrain park expert that kind of lines you guys out, or is that?
We do have a terrain park manager that's in charge of, we have, and I'm going to forget the name. There's a name for the smaller one, the progression. I forget what it is. We have a smaller one that you can learn on.
Okay.
As part of a run, not too far from the mountain house. And then we have the full big terrain park that has, incredible features in there that we build. And I'm forgetting all the names of those because that's, again, not quite my realm. It sort of is, but with the barrels and the logs and rails and all that kind of stuff. And so we have him that kind of designs those parks and where the features will be and when they will be added. But then we have another grooming manager that's in charge, and we are a little smaller operation. We're not like a Vail or some of those bigger ones. I've heard they have 10 or 12 groomers going out at night. We only have 3.
Okay.
So we'll have a winch cat that will do a few of the steeper runs, a few blues and a couple of the black with that winch cat. And then we have a couple of free groomers, including one that is called a Park Pro. And so it has more adjustability and mobility with its blade and with its tiller at the back.
Unlike a Park Master that we probably both learned on gang mower. Yeah. Park Pro is a little different. Got it.
Yeah. So I believe it's 18 feet. Okay. It's the tiller that's behind it that processes the snow and softens it.
Right.
And then you have what's called the comb at the back end that gives you the corduroy that you're, as a skier, would be used to seeing when you get up to ski that day. And then we have a blade that has functionality on the wings, and then up and down and forward and tilting and twisting. And it's pretty amazing engineering on these machines.
Cheap machines. Really inexpensive.
$500,000. It's not, buy 3.
Right.
Buy 3 or 4.
Buy 3, they're small.
Yeah, but they are, the creature comforts are incredible. And I tell people, I get in there, crank the tunes and crank the heat, and it's just like you're in a car. I even have the window open all night. I have the driver's side window about half open. I can see the mirror a little better that way too.
Right.
But it's just like driving a car around the ski hill at night.
Except
so there's usually
80-degree angles.
Right.
A lot of times.
So there's 2 or 3 of us out there, and we'll get in a good at least 8 hours, 9 to 10 is usually what we're at. Especially if it's a tough night, it can take a little bit longer. But the public gets up there around 8:30 to 8:40, and then mountain officially opens at 9 a.m.
Got it. And there's no skiers that can drive up, right? They're all gondola.
They're all gone. It's all gondola fed. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so, I ran a night crew for years at my last golf course, and
right.
It's not the same. It's not the same as a day crew. And
no.
So what crazy stories? Give me 2 crazy stories that things you've seen or things that happened in the snowcat.
So one, just getting up there, driving up it was 2 or 3 winters back. We were driving up that road and came upon a mother moose, and I forget the moose child's name, but a calf, I think. Yeah. And they would not get off the road. And this is a one wide. So we plow that and keep that. We have a big road grader actually that we keep that road plowed with. And so it's, two cars can just barely fit, but they would not get off the side of the road. And we followed them for at least a mile, at least. And we finally like, we're going to have to pass these folks, and I didn't, but I could have reached out and swatted it on the rear if I wanted to, as they were just trotting, up. I've seen 2 mountain lions together.
Really?
And literally
on the road or
on the road, driving up. We came around the corner. All of a sudden, here cat, like almost like deer in headlight. It was cat in headlight, and one like a house cat went straight in the air and off the side of the road. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
That's cool.
Virtually. The other one was almost like the moose and did not want to get off the road and just kind of loped up another probably 50, 60 feet and then went over the side. Plenty of elk. Trying to think of another good story. If we get
Bigfoot,
no, have not seen Bigfoot yet. I've been curious, or not curious, but like maybe that was it could have been like, what else could it have been besides a Yeti? But yeah, there's eyes in the dark. Plenty of white rabbits and little, I think weasels are up there as well that I've seen scurrying around. Some mice that I almost had chopped up, but it can get a little bit sketchy if you get more than about, I'd say, if you get over 6 to 7 inches that night of powder, there's a few of the steeper runs that we will kind of struggle with if you're not in the winch cat, and you will slide down them. Really? Because your tracks are not down to the base.
Oh, sure.
My glorious day or night.
If you drop the blade, you're
usually you can stop yourself eventually, but you don't want to do that because then you've created it's called a tank trap, and then you have to fix it.
Right.
You have to fill it in because it's obviously not safe to ski. I would say 2 to 3 inches is just perfect. You don't have to worry about that. And so the tiller has different depths that you can set it at, of course, different pressures. And then you've got the blade in front that if it's moguled out, you can be chopping moguls and filling in holes to again create a nice smooth corduroy on that run. And but it seems like if you get into that 6 to 8 range, there's a handful of the runs like, oh man, I'm gonna slide down Klondike Express tonight. I just know it. And then it's like a controlled slide of like, I don't want to mess it up, but kind of how good can I make it?
Yeah.
Like, hey, ski patrol, you may need to like kind of whoosh down there and kind of
that's why
get some of those windrows.
That's why some of those runs are left kind of
yeah,
ungroomed for a while. It's just to let that base kind of settle back down.
Right.
Okay.
Usually it's the first or second week of December before we're able to track pack that and start getting that base packed in. And they always try to open up Thanksgiving weekend.
Right.
Hopefully with enough snow. So
yeah, let's see if we get some this year. Right?
But yeah, there's usually, from thinking there might be a Sasquatch out there looking at you in the trees to, another good story a couple of years ago was one of the little shacks at the lift shacks caught fire. One of the lifties
that's exciting.
Had left something too close to the heater and left the heater on full bore. Usually they turn them way down. And I came around, it was right beside the mountain house on our third chair, and I come up around, I see like kind of a little glow,
a little red
glow.
That's
not a normal glow. And so
cool.
I come up the run and get around the corner, and this lift shack is completely ablaze.
Oh my God.
And so I grabbed a blade of snow and pushed it over what was left of it, because it was about half burned down at that point, and had called the manager and like, hey, do you want I'm thinking he's like, yep, that's a good idea. You're just gonna plow it over to put the fire out. So I put the fire out with my cat and like 4 or 5 bladefuls of snow.
Wow.
And just bulldozed it over.
That's exciting.
So there's usually some pretty exciting stuff. People, non-employees trying to drive up that road, maybe a lover's lane type of thing. Right. We've run into that before.
Not knowing that there's really no return.
Yeah, exactly. That there's no real great place to turn around.
Wow.
And so, yeah, there's usually plenty of good stories. Like, hey, kids, nothing, really great happens after.
We know what you're doing, and don't do it here.
And then trying to joyride and get stuck, and then we can't get past them on that road. Sure. And so we've had to help them like dig out. Like, yeah, there's plenty of stories. It's hardly ever a dull moment.
I did some night watering back in the 80s at a golf course, and
I did too.
you know that everybody should have to do that. It's not going to happen anymore, but there's just and there were three of us that rotated shift, and it was incumbent upon the other guys to try to be out at night to scare you half to death, so that you always had your head on a swivel, and pretty fun.
But it's pretty challenging at times to. It is a lot like mowing in my mind, but there are differences in that the weather can change by the hour up there. I mean, you could have snow be soft and then set up and be hard. You've got to change tiller pressure to try to still process that snow to get some kind of corduroy and not death marbles, they call them.
Right.
But with that blade, it takes a pretty talented hand, and either hopefully both a lot of effort and hours behind the stick, we say, that if you get a lot of wind and you get a lot of drifting, and you've got to move that snow somewhere, you can't just drive over the top of it. So we're like making new roads on some of those runs when we've got 8 to 10 foot drifts.
And they always say it flattens everything out when you got all that snow blowing around and drifting. And I'm sure that's
so there's a few of we know of like, hey, the wind's up, we know this and this run are going to be just drifted in like a son of a gun. And so it's going to take some extra time. Usually you put the tiller up and you just start blading that out and trying to get it into a skiable run again.
That's one of the unfortunate, notorious things about your mountain is that the wind does get to whipping, and a lot of days, not a lot, but there's always days every ski season where you're closed because of the wind and the gondola.
Correct. Yeah, so. Exactly. We just can't get people up there. So we usually it's maybe one or two. Yeah, we might get one or two a year that it's just howling, and sometimes they'll be monitoring that at 4 a.m. and hey, groomers, how's it looking up there? I'm like, those gondola cabins are swaying.
You're gonna pay extra for that ride today.
Yeah, right. You should charge extra for that ride. And so we go up and check, and sometimes I've had to go in and double check the weather. And I mean, I've been up there when it's been over 50.
Yeah,
and getting into the 70 to 80 mile an hour range, and it's a little freaky.
Top of the ski hills, what elevation?
About 6,300, I believe. That's the top of the hill. Yeah. We have two peaks, Kellogg Peak and Wardner Peak, and then there's several basins attached to those that people ski on. And what I've been told is that it's a particular mountain where there's a little bit more steepness and more verticality to a lot of the runs, and a little longer cat tracks, and that's really appealing to some people.
Yeah,
and other people prefer like the shorter cat tracks and longer, more subtle.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But the powder is pretty amazing. It's the way that the systems come into this mountain range and settle in and drop the snow. Yeah, and so we get. I forget the number. I want to say it was around 350, 375 inches, something like that, for the season.
Which is probably only
close to 400.
Yeah, I think Lookout right on the Montana border is just a little bit more than you guys.
Yeah, they usually are just a little bit more. We're always like, they got to be.
That's enough.
They have to be fudging numbers.
Yeah, that's enough.
They're not that far, but it is. It's just it's crazy how
a little valley
get in there and settle in and just drop a little extra.
Well, I don't think people realize that from Spokane to Coeur d'Alene, which is only 25 miles. There's like 10 inches of precipitation difference.
Oh yeah,
from the two areas annually.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit, kind of wrap this up with some golf and architecture talk. I'm fascinated by the snowcat thing, but so you mentioned earlier your goal is to play 100 rounds a year.
Yeah.
Just by following your social media, the bulk of those 100 are not at Galena Ridge. You get around.
They used to be.
They used to be.
But since I moved, I do get around.
I probably need to look at my notes, but maybe we need to take it like last 5 or 10 years. But what are some of the gems that you've had a chance to play?
I've been really fortunate to get to both coasts. I mean, living in San Diego, I played just about everything of note in California. And then Oregon and Washington when I lived up here, and some Arizona trips and stuff. And then have had a couple of New York trips. I just actually finally, it's been like 30 years in the wishing and hoping, finally got out to Philadelphia and saw Marion a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I went in with sky high expectations, and they were exceeded at every single turn.
Cool.
Now, normally it's such a great profession. The guys in this profession, we're talking salt of the earth, they're proud of their properties and they want to show them off and have other guys come and see them. And so usually we have accessibility I'm very grateful for that.
Right.
The regular public does not have access to. And so I'm really thankful for that, and have been able to see I'm up over 550 total different golf courses played so far in my life. And about half, I would say I'm in the 40 to 50 range of the top 100, depending on what magazine you want to look at.
What magazine?
Yeah. I would say my Mount Rushmore, my personal Mount Rushmore would be Cypress Point Club.
Yeah.
It's just the Sistine Chapel of golf. I mean, it is just
certainly in North America.
It's a magical place that, you go from parkland to forest to dunes to ocean.
So, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It'll be hard to duplicate that. I love that hole. I'll throw down with anybody who wants to.
Well, maybe it's because I made an X on that hole, but 18 kind of left me a little flat.
18, you got to get back up to the clubhouse.
Yeah, I know.
It's too bad that they couldn't have done the original tee out in the ocean.
Yeah.
That with a suspension bridge walking out to the tee. They were going to do that, but it's a great little finishing hole that's like uphill, and you've got to hit 2 precise shots through a sea of cypress. That I can hardly see the fairway. Like, where am I supposed to hit this? Yeah. But just an amazing golf course.
All right, so that's one. So you got 3 more.
National Golf Links.
Okay.
Is what
I would think
every other place really has kind of been fashioned after, and those template holes. And then I would say Fisher's Island over off the coast of New York.
Yeah.
And you have to take a ferry from Connecticut to get there.
Yeah.
That's Seth Rayner, and huge fan of his. Worked with C.B. McDonald in the early days and then went off on his own. And Fisher's is, to me, 1B behind Cypress for atmosphere on a golf property.
I haven't had a chance to see it.
It is absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
And the water at every turn, and including, I forget how many holes that are right on the water. It is also a very magical place.
Cool.
I would put, so that's 3. I'm going to go more modern, Caprock Ranch in Nebraska. Gil Haynes.
Okay.
I believe it's 3 years old now.
That's
I got there.
I've heard on a lot of lists. That's cool.
Feel free to get in my DMs about this, because I'll throw down about this too. Because I finally, again, 25 years in the making, hoping to see Sandhills.
Yeah.
And I finally, last summer, got out to see Sandhills. And the day before Sandhills, did my second visit to Caprock. And I'm going to go on record, which I have not yet, besides my social media, that I believe Caprock is more fun and more interesting. And you can talk about legacy, and Sandhills absolutely has that in spades, because if Sandhills didn't exist, maybe Caprock doesn't.
I would say that's a good
in the middle of nowhere, and just incredible bunkering. Corey Crenshaw did just an amazing job, and that place, it is where it should be. It should be top 10 in the country. I do believe that, but I also believe that Caprock should be, because not only Sandhills is all out on the prairie, Caprock has half the holes out on the prairie. Amazing, great design. Gil Haynes, I love Gil's work.
Yeah,
huge fan, and he was my first contact about trying to come and finish this property off. And 2 years ago,
his plate's a little full.
His plate's a little full, overflowing. So
yeah.
He also really appreciated his quick response. He got back to me the next day and said, "Hey, we really appreciate your kind words on Caprock, and we had a lot of fun with that. But my schedule is full through 27, and I'm not taking on any new projects right now. And I wish you the best." So, but the other holes, the other ones are perched out on the edge of the Snake River Canyon, and there are greens and tees that are. It's 250 feet down to the river. And there's a couple of heroic carries over it. And so when you take that blend, it's just something that
Very unique.
Sandhills just can't
Right.
offer.
You just don't have that land.
Yeah, you just don't have that property. And so people talk about, well, if you took Pebble away from the ocean, how good would the holes be as far as like talking about rankings and things? And of course, it's all so subjective.
Sure.
But you can't.
Right.
The ocean is right there, and people love to play
why you're there.
by the ocean
Yep.
or by a river rushing water
Yep.
or whatever. And so it's hard to remove. So a site is terribly important. And I feel like that's what we have here at Galena is a really unique, fairly unique site that, in fact, I have another quick side story I'll say, that one of those architects brought a shaper with him that has been doing it for 45 years. And he's been on, I think, 5 continents.
To Galena.
Came to Galena.
Okay.
And it was nice to hear them be as excited about the opportunity as I think this place can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, here, I would love you to tell me, since you've been around as much as you have, way more than me, how extreme / exciting of a property for golf is this? And he said, this is back to the Mount Rushmore. This is pretty much Mount Rushmore. I would say one of the most extreme sites I've ever seen. The routing here was done extremely well. And we would maybe make a couple of small changes here and there, but nothing gratuitous. And it's up there at the top of my list. And if we pull this off, talk about a feather in all of our caps.
For sure.
And so, yeah,
that's cool.
And then going back to where I'd been, that Caprock is just one of those just awe-inspiring. There's nothing else. They have some cabins for on-site lodging, but the golf is all away from that. And so you are just out on the prairie, and then you're overlooking,
wow,
the Snake River Canyon. So runners up, I would say Sandhills for sure. LA Country Club North is a fantastic routing. I'm a huge George C. Thomas fan. And then Shinnecock, of course, needs to be up there. Chicago Golf, arguably the best flat golf course in the country. Yeah, there's a lot to choose from, and that's the beauty of it, is that they're all so different.
Yeah,
and there's just unique aspects and pieces of them that, if you are into architecture, and then if you're into golf maintenance and conditioning like I am, to go to these places, and I'm not looking at it just from the golfer standpoint. Right. I am looking at it from a low handicap standpoint of playing and the challenge, and I'm also looking at it, how easy is it to maintain or how difficult. And these places, I want to see it where it's done at the highest level.
But there's there's something to be said for how those two things, from the architecture and the routing play to the maintenance side, how well they worked with the early, the turn of the century into the 30s, not only designs, but pieces of property and available equipment to build golf courses.
Horse and plow.
Yeah.
Donkey and plow, mule, whatever.
The course I was at in Arizona was built in the early 60s, started moving dirt in the late 50s.
That would be Forest.
Desert Forest.
Yeah. Lovely golf course. Huh.
It's the hardest son of a gun I've ever played, but he didn't have the equipment to move, millions of cubic feet of dirt. Yeah. Whereas my neighbor to the east, Desert Mountain, all they did was completely change the landscape.
Nicholas.
And then I would end up with a lot of their accessories on my golf course in a big rainfall, because it would all wash off the mountain down the dry river bed.
That's great.
We were playing golf, and they were spending tens of thousands of dollars repairing washouts. And so there's something to be said for how that works into maintenance too. It just makes everything a lot more seamless.
It is almost, it's pretty amazing how those still stand up to this day. Now, they certainly have maybe gone under the knife, as it will, occasionally here and there, but I've been to several that are proud that they have not done extensive renovations, and they still hold up. They're arguably, again, subjective, but the best of the best that this country has to offer, and that they were doing that 100 years ago plus.
Well, and the fact that the cypresses and the pinehursts are trying to reverse the clock in some ways and take irrigation out and take turf out,
Yes.
back to where we were. It's,
right.
and they continue to hold up, and maybe even
There's a
make
little bit
some
too
more
much
too.
artificiality. It kind of crept in,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to the detriment of greens fees because of maintenance fees being
100%.
higher and conditioning costing more
100%.
to try to maintain that, hazards that are supposed to the public would like to see. A lot of people would like to see very pristine. Well, it's a hazard. Like it's not supposed to be completely pristine, but we can talk about that for days on end. But it's nice to see, like Hance, like Corin Crenshaw, a lot of these other guys that are trying to rein that in a little bit
Yeah.
from what maybe the 70s, 80s especially was happening. And a lot of great golf built, of course, but it has to be affordable. It has to be. We can't have skyrocketing maintenance costs to try to maintain this property and then pass it on to obviously the consumer that's going to end up paying the bills
I think
for
it
us.
was either Brad Klein or another golf writer that described one of the Scottsdale courses, clubhouse and surrounding area, as 50,000 square feet of unrestricted opulence and tasteless excess. And sometimes we just end up spending so much time and effort and money on the things that at the end of the day don't really matter. And maybe that's the segue into your simplicity of the property here in the clubhouse. And I'll have our editor put a picture up of the what I think is the most perfectly appointed clubhouse for the golf course. And
when you told me that 9 years ago when I got here, I loved it, and
so
I've embraced
the picture.
I've embraced it ever since.
And the rumor from Geoff is that clubhouse may be going away, and I may have to put it in my backyard just to keep it as
at least come up and have a little ceremony,
exactly,
a little memorial or something. But it's just a little trail that was tastefully done with reclaimed wood, and
but it works. I mean, get yourself a candy bar and a soda and hit the road, man.
Maybe a shirt or hat. I think we have 20 or 30 shirts in there during the season, but it's small, and there's a cooler in there for a number of adult and otherwise beverages. And like you say, some candy bars and chips. And
I find myself gravitating to the simplicity of just
I
go
do
out
too.
and have fun.
I do too.
Not to take anything away from the high end stuff at all, but
because those are fun sometimes as well.
We raise kids playing golf, and there's a local 9-holer in town that my kids all learned on, and it's nothing special, but it's a fun little place to be. And there's little gems like that all over the place.
Absolutely.
So if you could, over the last 125 years, could pick any architect to come in and finish this place off, who would it be?
Any architect, living or dead?
Yeah, anybody you got access to them all.
Wow, that's a great question. My mind is spinning.
Because you don't, like you said earlier, you don't want to not honor or take away from the first 9,
right?
And you want continuity.
Have to have continuity, as if it was all here together, even though now it's been 15 years.
Right.
So we're going to be staring 20 years ish. It's going to be probably a 2 years project with 4 or 5 holes each year because of the growing season, right? So we're talking 17 or 18 years. You have to make it look like it was all at the same time when it was built. I would say the ones that are popping off, Hance absolutely comes to mind. Corin Crenshaw, I would say honorable mention. Let me split it up into classic and modern. I would say Hance. Gil, I think, would just knock this place out of the park.
I'd put Andrew Green in there too, just because I think he does so much. Well, and Jim Urbina too, for modern guys. They put so much effort into research and history. Not that you've necessarily got that here, but just that history honors what was there. And
I did a little Ohio trip 3 years ago, and Moraine and Inverness and Muirfield. And when I was at the golf club, I played with the superintendent, longtime superintendent, 33 years, I think, at that point. And so he had some great die stories as well. And Urbina was an associate there. And wouldn't you know it, around the 14th hole, here comes Jim. And I got to meet him, and he followed around, drove, because they were talking about a few other little tweaks that they wanted to make to the property. And so I got to kind of, invade his brain a little bit on his thoughts and stuff. So yeah, Jim is a great architect as well. But I would say for classic, huge Mackenzie fan. I love what the Good Doctor has done. Crystal Downs is just phenomenal. 4 through 8 might be the best stretch of golf in the country, arguably, or let's say best 4 or 5 hole stretch, maybe without an ocean involved.
Yeah.
Obviously Cypress. But I think I may have to, in the last 10 years, it's probably changed just a little bit as I've played a couple of others. I'm a huge Rayner fan. And that probably goes back to me going into engineering. I started engineering in college, and he was an engineer, and the lines and the angles, and I've been a huge fan of everything he has touched that I've seen so far, and Fisher's would be one of those.
Well, I'll put a call into him.
Yeah. If we
get it back from the
we'll
grave,
get a little seance, and maybe
seance.
We can get the consulting. Maybe the consulting fee won't be too high.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to wrap up with a couple of quickies.
Okay.
We've seen a huge boom. You've seen it here, but in general in the industry since COVID, since 2020. I asked this of everybody on the podcast: are we smart enough to capitalize on the boom?
I think we are.
Ooh, you are the first guest I've had that said anything but no.
Okay. Now I'm rethinking.
Okay, expand.
Yeah, and then you have to expand. But I've been impressed with, from advertising with brands to, we can talk about Topgolf. We can talk about simulators. We can talk about,
I think Topgolf has been a miss for golf. I think that was a huge gateway that we missed because we looked off of our noses at it as
that may have happened.
I
yes,
think that was a miss that we should have been able to capitalize on.
Yes, agreed. I think in the realm of maybe grabbing people that would normally have pipeline, and then translate them into pipeline.
You like that?
Hey, real golf,
out in nature, do something really cool.
Right. I think yes, I would agree. We could have done better for sure.
Yeah.
But in looking at those and looking again back to the brands, one thing that we saw based on my research as we were going along through COVID and coming out of COVID was women. We have got to focus on women.
Yeah.
You talk about, and we can tongue in cheek, like decision makers in the family, like, hopefully it's a partnership, but they drive a lot of what happens.
No doubt.
When there are children, especially when there are children
and
involved.
kids.
And so I'm seeing a lot more of that compared to 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
When I first got into this industry.
Unless you're a country club rat that, that grew up in that scene that. Yeah. I agree.
I think there's been online, I see some shrink the game type of things, because some of the stuff gets a little over the top with with the influencers and whatnot, but there's a lot of that stuff that has really helped make golf cool.
Yeah.
When you're in golf and you love it, it's already cool.
Right.
But for people to try to draw those people.
And then we view it as a nuisance.
Right.
Whereas,
but there are people that didn't think, it's overweight white guys that are rich, that are in bad outfits, taking up prime real estate. Even going back to Caddyshack with
I just quoted
Dangerfield
yesterday, actually.
Yeah, but I think that's been good and has helped bring people into the game, including women and kids, especially impressionable children.
Yep.
Golf is cool.
It
is so challenging and hard to master. You're outside, you're with your friends usually, and you're working on it together, playing it together, you're having fun. And so I think there's a lot of great things happening in the game, trying to bring other people into the game and to make it more accessible, more fun. And what I think is going to happen is more of these short courses that the busy man or woman can get to. And it's not 4.5 hours. it's an hour and a half.
Yep.
And it's a little 8-hole loop, or it's a 12-hole loop, or something like that.
The number shouldn't matter.
Yeah, the number should not matter. You're out there playing golf,
right?
And I think there's going to be more of a
want
move
more.
to that.
There is more.
Yeah,
but we got to get you.
There is more on the weekend when you have time.
That could be a whole sales pitch right there.
Yeah, very trademark that before somebody else takes it. But I hope that will happen.
I'll give you that. That's a very optimistic and
I'm a
like
pretty glass half full guy, and until I'm not.
The most positive I've had before yours was a long pause, and I don't think so. Otherwise, it's just a flat no right away.
I feel like I'm seeing, whether it's good enough or not, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of effort to capitalize on. I feel like I'm seeing efforts in a lot of different ways and a lot of different avenues to try to capitalize on that. But what I saw couldn't do anything else. And so, the moms, if the dad was able to work, let's say remotely, golf was one of the few things you could do. And so mom would take, or dad, or both would take the kids and go. And we I think held on to it. A lot of those that came into the game.
I wish we could have held on to more of those, because that was a huge opportunity that I think by and large we didn't take the best advantage of. The other thing that I think that we really missed on in that time is just being able to capitalize on, like you said, on 9-hole rounds. Who cares if it's a 9 or an 18-hole round?
Yeah,
get them where we can,
or if 6 or 12.
There's more there.
Yeah.
So
there's been a few. The park, West Palm, that is public facility down there, and some older ones being renovated. Charleston comes to mind. The Muni down there. Some other of these a lot of these high-end resorts that we have plenty more. I was just at Abandoned Dunes, and you've got 2 short courses there now, in the Preserve and Shorties. And so there are, I hope, and I've read some articles where it sounds like there are developers and architects that are trying to do more of those. And it doesn't have to be the full 18. Those are great. And that's what golf is.
12-hole loop is as busy as any of their 18.
Gamble Sands just opened Scarecrow, the second full-size course, and got to see that. Set a new personal best on the Sands course, the original one, and McClay Kidd did both of those, and the short course Quicksands. And it's 13, I believe, holes.
That's a hoot. That's a fun one.
There are some purists that don't want any part of that. Okay, fine, I respect you. I like it in that short course, not the big course. That short course, they've got fake rock speakers. And you got classic rock playing. And I had a friend and I,
a couple of golf clubs, and to the other hand,
I put in a little dig for Leavenworth. If anyone's traveling through Washington State, stop in and play Leavenworth Golf Club. It's a great old classic Pacific Northwest, down by the river, a few holes even.
The river.
And the superintendent there, Ivan Gibbs, and I are pretty good friends, and he's kind of a golf nut like me, and we've gone on some trips together and stuff. And I remember we were over there for a conference or a meeting. I think it was midsummer, because it was 105, and nobody else was out there but us 2 sickos. And we're out there on Quicksands, took our shirts off, barefoot, classic rock playing. And we're just firing wedges, on these, and had drinks in our hand, and it was amazing. Now, I'm not saying that I should be able to do that at Marion or at Cypress Point Club. I'm not saying that, but I think there should be a place for that.
Yes,
here and there.
I agree. And
that's how you're growing the game and retaining people that come into the game, especially kids that they say like the attention span now is 8 or 9 seconds thanks to TikTok, and and so it's like, if you want to hold these folks' attention when they get out there, you need to have some of those types of things, that maybe like Michael's place, the Grove, where they're delivering the snacks with a drone or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to.
Yeah, even little things like, I know a lot of the purists have turned their nose up on speakers on the carts. Well, you know what? That's where we're at. And if you're not willing to meet them, then you're not going to capture. Right. You're not going to capture that business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's usually it still is kind of when you meet somebody new, if you get paired up.
Right.
Hey, is music okay? Oh yeah. I have not run into anyone yet who has said no.
Yeah.
when you get paired up with somebody, hey, do you mind, music at a low volume, not cranked, with a big, subwoofer in the back or
With an
anything. But
80s boom
although
box.
I have seen that in a couple of
I know.
instances
Custom cars.
with, or just somebody brings
Yeah.
that speaker, construction
Yeah, we don't
site
need
speaker,
that.
and that's in the back, little cubby there, and it's could be really loud, but just something low, and you've got, hey, what are you into? And rap, metal, classic rock, Taylor Swift, whatever it is,
Right.
it adds another little element to the game, and you're just out there with your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I'm hopefully like a hopeful,
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
Okay,
I'm a hopeful.
That's
romantic in that way.
I'll take it because I haven't had a lot of them. Well, this has been good. I appreciate you getting on, and I don't know why you were nervous because it's just the two of us talking. So it's gone great, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning into this whole circuitous. Gosh, we went golf course architecture to pushing snow with a snowcat to the whole deal.
Back to golf speakers.
Yeah, exactly. But appreciate everybody listening, and be sure to, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you again next week with another one. Thanks, Geoff.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate it.